The readings for Friday, February 3rd. The epistle reading is from St. Paul's letter to the Hebrews, chapter 9, verses 11 through 14. But Christ came as high priest of the good things to come, with the greater and more perfect tabernacle not made with hands, that is, not of this creation. Not with the blood of goats and calves, but with his own blood he entered the most holy place for all, having obtained eternal redemption. For if the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctifies for the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, cleanse your conscience from dead works to serve the living God? All right, got some footnotes from the Orthodox Study Bible. So for this exact passage, verses 11 through 14, Christ, in contrast to the Old Testament high priest, see the footnote on chapter 9, verses 6 through 10, is high priest of the new covenant. He enters the heavenly sanctuary once and for all, is the wording used in verse 12, meaning Christ's one sacrifice covers all sins by all people for all time, with the blood of Christ, the wording used in verse 14, his own human blood, which heals our corrupt humanity, as noted in verse 13 by the phrase the flesh, restores us to our proper relationship to God, pure, as noted in verse 14, cleanse your conscience, and holy, draws us up near to God in liturgical worship, as noted in verse 14 with the phrase, serve the living God. As for the phrase dead works, it says to see chapter 6, verse 1, are human activity in and of this age, participating in mortality and corruption, and normally even in sin. Liturgically, dead works are the actions of Old Covenant worship. And for chapter 9, verse 14, the phrase eternal spirit, this is proof the Holy Spirit is fully God. The Gospel reading is from the book of Luke, chapter 2, verses 25 through 38. And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. And this man was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was upon him. And it had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not see death before he had seen the Lord's Christ. So he came by the Spirit into the temple, and when the parents brought in the child Jesus to do for him according to the custom of the law, he took him up in his arms and blessed God and said, Lord, now you are letting your servant depart in peace, according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared before the face of all peoples, a light to bring revelation to the Gentiles, and the glory of your people Israel. And Joseph and his mother marveled at those things which were spoken of him. Then Simeon blessed him, and said to Mary his mother, Behold, this child is destined for the fall and rising of many in Israel, and for a sign which will be spoken against. Yes, a sword will pierce through your own soul also, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. Now there was one, Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age, and had lived with a husband 7 years from her virginity. And this woman was a widow of about 84 years, who did not depart from the temple, but served God with fastings and prayers night and day. And coming in that instant, she gave thanks to the Lord, and spoke of him to all those who looked for redemption in Israel. All right, quite a bit of overlap from the readings yesterday. Nevertheless, we will hit the footnotes here from the Orthodox Study Bible. 25 through 38. So, for verses 25 and 26, Simeon represents humanity in waiting for the consolation of Israel. He fulfills Psalm 90, verse 16, in which God makes a promise to the one who loves him, quote, "With length of days I will satisfy him and show him my salvation." For verse 28, the hymns of the church compare Simeon's reception of Christ to Isaiah's reception of the burning coal from the angel in Isaiah chapter 6, verses 6 and 7. In both cases, a prophet receives the life-giving fire of the offering. Isaiah received the type, and Simeon receives the fulfillment. For verses 29 through 32, the Canticle of Simeon is sung daily at Vespers. Since salvation, in verse 30, has been born into the world, all peoples can embrace death. See Philippians chapter 1, verse 23. For the Christian, death is no longer frightful, but a gateway to everlasting peace, as noted in verse 29. For verse 34, the second coming of the Lord will be the reckoning of the world. For the believer, it will be a resurrection to life. For the unbeliever, it will be a falling into judgment, as noted in John chapter 5, verse 29. For verse 35, the sword refers to the anguish that Mary will experience in witnessing her son's death on the cross. Her soul will be pierced in grief. And for verse 38, both men and women are called to proclaim Christ's redemption, and women are the first to proclaim his resurrection, as noted in chapter 24, verse 9. All right, everybody. Sorry for getting this one uploaded a little bit late today. It's still before noon, so I'm hitting a rough target of mine, I guess. Yep. Starting a new job, a lot of juggling around. Yeah. It'll essentially... So, basically what it means is I had a day off, and I was away from my family for a few days, so I slept in with them, and it kind of threw everything out of whack. But hopefully you're hitting this in due time, that, you know, it's not late enough in the day that it's out of your rhythm of normally listening to my videos, and, you know, you just skip over it entirely or anything like that. But, yep, just if you could, please pray for me, a sinner. And, yeah, hopefully we'll get tomorrow's uploaded a little bit earlier today. And I will check back in with you all then. Take care.